We are going live. We're going live. Oh, hey. Hey. I didn't pour a wine. Oh, I'm going out for dinner and I'm having wine there, so maybe I could chill. Hi, everyone. We got a new book this month. Welcome to Book Chat. We are currently reading Jim Butcher's fourth book in the Dresden Files series, Summer Knight. Hi, everyone. If you're new, say hi in the chat. This is going to be fully spoily. I know. I hear you, Kate. I hear you on this. It's funny because I've listened to them a couple of times, but again, having new perspectives, very interesting. We have a first-time chatter. Hello, Daniel. Says hello. I'd love to hear from you. Are you an avid book reader? Have you read this particular book, or are you just now realizing that this Twitch page exists? No wrong answers. Welcome. As always, we've got, and when they talk, their Discord name will come up here so we can differentiate. But we've got members of Geek Bomb's Book Chat Club in there as well. Navarine or Navarine says fourth. I always thought this was a fifth for some reason. First time chatter. Welcome. I'm guessing you have read the Dresden Files. You are right, because this is the introduction of the Fae Courts, hot off the back of the Vampire Courts. So we are really, really learning. Oh, are you buds? First time chat, new patron. You are Puller Buds. Andrew, thank you for clarifying your name in that chat. It definitely helps me so I can address you by the first name. Super, super interesting to already see how into books you are in our hashtag reading section on the Discord. I feel that there are very few geeky kind of Discords or communities that kind of do television and film and games and books. So my goal is to get as many people reading as possible and to provide a community where we can discuss said books. Oh, NC has subscribed on YouTube. That's awesome. We got to get a new one of these because that zombie dude running, it's not canon. It's just not canon. Also, I'm going to move this over so all the comments can be seen displayed at once. We usually read sci-fi/fantasy books, which is just because that's what I personally enjoy reading, and I have a massive pile of shame that we are all making our way through, and a lot of the time it is decided by the entire community. It is a group effort, and I think we're doing Dresden Files because we started it back in 2019. We did Stormfront, and then moved on to Full Moon, had a little bit of a break because Nerdist Book Club picked back up, and now we're going to do every second week, but there are so many books to get through. In fact, the community has an Excel spreadsheet where we have all the books we recommend talking about in a book club format. And that's a long list. We're set for the next 7.5 years. So we could put it to a vote. Thierry, I know that this is a series I got you into a few years ago, and you have hit the ground running with it. But there's a lot of books out there. For those that don't know, if you do go onto youtube.com, I don't even know how to justify that. No idea. I'm not even about to say a word with an L in it. If you had to... I am not drunk. I said I wanted to pour a wine and I didn't. I just have water with me. YouTube. All right, I know we give Gory heat for doing the typos, being the typo queen. Maybe I'm taking the reign of being the drunk but not drunk talker. Great. YouTube.com/geekbomb. There is a book club/book chat section there where you can find all previous iterations of book chat. We do 2 streams per month. Usually it is the first and second Wednesday of the month. Not this case. We'll be doing the first and third, I believe. But I'm getting distracted with that one, Kate. I'm getting distracted. And I don't know if we are not going to allow redneck porn as a phrase in the chat. But your joke is appreciated. All the previous books, you'll get 4 hours of spoken content. Glory. This is fun. So anyway, because this is a new book, we are getting first thoughts from the book chat squad. If you want to join up and be a part of the book chat squad, all you have to do is be a backer of Geek Bomb's Patreon. Any tier gets you access to a lot of the locked channels in Discord, including reading. So if you are looking for an online community that are super dedicated to books, this is your place. You get sort of two 2-hour live shows and an only accessible paid wall content of an after show for Nerdists Book Club, which is a separate book altogether. So we cover 2 books a month. Oh, that's a lot of housekeeping. So I hope everyone's caught on. I saw 2 new chatters here, and so I had to give you the spiel. I hope I drove a good bargain. Oh, lordy, Lord, Kate, you just said, Maude, you'll be happy to know that I've moved up to 1.8 speed of the audio for Wheel of Time. I'm listening to it at 1.4. No wonder it's taking me a year. All right, challenge accepted. If you are new here and you listen to Audible, let us know what speed you listen to on average. We're a bit competitive like that around here. Hey, let's chat about Summer Knight. 1.3 to 1.5. That's a good window. I think I'm 1.4 to 1.6. But that's a solid window right there. Speaking of, since Pullabuds, you are the newest book chat member, we'll start with you, put you on the spot. Clever girl, Colleen, I know that you said you might not be able to have made it tonight. Lovely to see you in the chat there. Oh, and you made it into book chat in the Discord. Great. You've done 1.0. Can you tell me how to pronounce your name, by the way? Navarine. There's a, yeah. Yeah, look, this is a 30-hour book, so any help we can get. Isn't that right? Thierry says I go 1 time speed for James Masters. Yeah, except the lip smacking in the first 4 books is a little bit more obvious. It's more lip smacking in the first couple of books, and now it's swallowing. It's a lot of that. Perfect. Sounds good, Colleen. Hello, Avare. Lovely to see you. Hi, hello, Eddie, as well. Glad we're all joining in. Thank you, Kate. Too spicy for the chat. Navarine. Perfect. Thank you so much. So starting with Andrew, who is new to book chat, I'd love to hear from you. What are your first thoughts, not only about this franchise, because you are new to book chat and we've got a lot of catching up to do, but this book in particular. So if you unmute, we'll hear you.
Hello.
Hey, welcome.
Hi.
Long time
Thank
listener,
you.
first time caller.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Before
I'm
you
a big
keep going,
Dresden.
I'm going to
Ooh.
interrupt you completely because I have to say this to every single person I meet that has this name. Andrew is my father's name. Okay, you can continue.
I actually have a ton of my friends are now. I'm now discovering all their middle name is Andrew.
Oh, it's a middle name?
Very popular.
Oh, got
Very
it.
popular middle name.
Oh.
But yeah, so we're big Dresden fans over here. One of my friends recommended it, and we started reading it, and turned it out all of our friends had already read it. So we kind of played catch up, borrowing books from friends, borrowing 2 copies of books from friends because my wife was reading them at the same time as I was. In fact, I was on the 4th book of the Dresden Files when she started, and she ended up passing me.
So she reads at a 1.6 speed is what you're saying.
She really does. She really does. And the literal dropping the book before the cover completely closes and grabbing the next book, she totally did that with changes. So yeah.
We've got a lot of Andrews. Navarine, who's in the chat as well, said, that is also my name. This is odd. So welcome to Andrew's Club, everyone. If you're an Andrew, come on by. So big fan of the Dresden Files. You and your wife were almost had to buy double books because you were reading so fast. Hello. Thanks for the follow. Marinella. Lovely to have you here. We are chatting about this book. Yay. So if you're into Dresden Files, welcome, welcome. How did you find Summer Knight in comparison to Stormfront, Full Moon, and Terry will tell me. What is that?
Grave Peril.
I told you would tell me. Grave Peril.
I've really loved them all. There wasn't really any of them that I didn't enjoy, with the exception of Grave Grave Peril, I think is the one. I don't want to give any spoilers, but I found that one a little bit slow.
Oh, is this
But
the we've been discussing it quite openly on the reading portion of the Discord. Oh, is that the one where it's on a porn set and that we all kind of realized that we could skip it if there was one to skip?
No, that's not the one I'm referring to, but it comes down later. I can't think of the title of the book later, and I really can't even give the premise of it without giving massive spoilers. So I don't want to do that. But really, aside from that one, which I thought was slow, I really enjoy all of Jim Butcher's books, and I. Unlike some of the chat I've seen, I actually enjoy some of the less than savory wording that he chooses, such as the character name of Injun Joe. I kind of find that Jim Butcher is trying to invoke that classic noir feel and some of those, classic. And then she walked into my office and she,
Oh yeah.
like that kind of feel. And I think he does it on purpose with a lot of that kind of language and to really draw out the characters and use that descriptive word choicing to bring out those characters, character flaws and traits and those kind of things. But yeah.
You know what? This is what book chat's all about. Everyone is learning something. We all provide our own perspective onto with how we read these words. They're all the same words, but everyone has a different take on them, which I find so fascinating. And to hear those different perspectives, like I'll have like a set idea, or I'll have like a blind spot over something, and then to hear someone else have their opinion on it, I'm like, I just did not see it that way. And I love that, for better or worse, because sometimes I'll be like, this is actually probably good for me because I'm championing somewhat slightly sort of a misogynistic viewpoint, which I was just completely oblivious to. So these conversations I absolutely love, because in no time or space in this community are we defending really bad behavior, but it's just so fascinating to see the different takes on it. Because I know that Kate, who's in book chat as well, like any kind of unnecessary misogyny, it's just like boom, claims it in a way where I'm like, oh wow, that's like, it really helpful for particular blind spots that happen. My apartment is so warm. I was cold and now I am in a sauna. That's exciting. Paul and Bob is actually a first-time chatter. I know that you said you don't want to ruin the nice chat. You're just leaving. You haven't read the book. Oh, okay. But thank you so much for the compliment as you part. Appreciate that one. There was another person who was new as well. Oh, I, Marinella, said a big hi too. Thank you. Kate asks, and I think this one's for you, Andrew, have you read The Aeronauts Windlass? Windlass.
I have that in my Audible queue. I have not gotten to it yet. I did read. It's in there. We'll get to it. But I did read the Codex. I'm blanking on what that series is called. His Sword and Sorcery series, which has got some really interesting settings and buildings and stuff.
Codex
but no, I haven't. That's it. Thank you. Yes.
That was Chris.
Codex Alaria. I did read that, but I haven't gotten to the steampunk stuff yet.
Okay. Colleen says, I love the Aeronauts Windlass. It seems much less problematic to me. Oh, that's a good sell for me, Colleen. I like that. Now, Colleen, I know that you are just chatting at the moment, as is Michelle, who's just jumped into the chat. Lovely to see you. Sorry that work's running a little bit late. I'll go down the list if everyone wants to provide a thought or two about the first impressions of this particular book. Hold on really quickly. Navarine, Discord, a big part of it is open to the public, but there are rooms like a dedicated book chat, a dedicated gaming chat, and a dedicated watching chat that is Patreon only. So if you want to jump into this book chat, it is a Patreon thing. Yay, but it's worth it. We got good people. I promise. Darian, I'll be going with you first. Thoughts on Summer Night thus far?
Hi, good night. I enjoyed it. I listened to it last year, so it might be a little rusty, but
Yeah.
overall, it was a really solid follow-up to Great Peril. It was surprisingly it turned out to be from such a small story how it started. It was one of the more epic ones, huh?
Yeah? Yeah?
By the end of it, it was a huge epic.
Of
If
this
I
or
think
last
back,
one? Grave Peril?
this one it was like it started off really small, and then the stakes got really huge coming to the end of it. So
So we're just talking
yeah.
about the first half of the book? I forget what
Yeah,
happens in the
yes,
second half as well.
that's why I'm trying to be vague.
Got it.
Yeah, no, but I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it let's see. Some of the problematic things people mentioned it didn't really bother me. One thing I noticed was like for the Injun Joe thing, Harry refers to him as listens to wind. It's only Ebenezer, I think, who says Injun Joe, which I think he could say because he knows him so long, and it's like a term of endearment for him.
Yep.
So Harry himself isn't that kind of problematic for that. So
I hear you with
that's one
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, we have to, what I define harassment as
Yeah.
is if you do something and someone says that's not okay and they set that boundary and you
Yeah.
keep doing it.
Yeah.
So if
I
we're
think
not,
a lot of it is intent.
yes, but if we're not
Yeah.
seeing sort of like a boundary put up and repeatedly challenged, then the assumption is that it's amicable, consensual.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Full confession for me as an Australian, I didn't even know. Still don't really understand the depth of it. Yeah. So it's like when it was like there's a problem, I was like, oh, there you go. Kate says there's a thing about casual white racism though, where they'll say something like, "Oh, I'm just joking," kind of level, and be like, "Nah, they like it," when someone calls them out on it. Yeah. And what we are essentially in display of is that Australians are fluent in casual racism.
Yikes.
Yeah. And I don't know if people are still living in Australia realize that. It's only because I left the country. And I looked back and I was like, oh, oh, cool. Corey, it's so bad. It's so bad because we absolutely put the stamp of, and I don't want to say we because it's not me anymore, but it's what is very culturally acceptable, where it's like it's just a joke. Everything's fine. We just make fun of stereotypes and no one's safe. Like I would get made fun of for being tall. Like whatever it was that was a stereotype, it was like a target for humor. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Darian, for that one though. J Bun Rock, are you just commenting? B Rock Vandal, are you commenting or are you going to jump on chat tonight?
Here.
Hey, how you going?
Good. I'm really liking the novel so far. I like all the characters they're introducing, and but I really like the scene with Aurora where she kind of releases his all his bad pent up emotions, and he kind of relaxes. And then you just wonder: is she seems nice, but is she playing him just like Mauve and Mab are the same way?
And that's just her ability to sort of connect and see you. I think that for the first time, you are absolutely right. Harry has been just pushing through, and it's only ever really described the physical toll that it's taking on him: exhaustion, bleeding out, battered and bruised, physically aching. And for the very first time, it's addressed to the psychological damage that it's having on him. And we're actually seeing that in Murphy as well, the psychological damage that she's had, having been assaulted by the psychic ghost from the last book. And so, yeah, I think that is a big theme that we are touching. Krevos, thank you, Thierry, thank you. That's what we're seeing. But I did like that Harry is sort of able to let that wall down a little bit. But you're right, it was assisted, and what was the intention behind that? What a great observation.
Yeah, and he 100% blames himself for what happened to Susan. So he's not doing anything until he can resolve that some way.
Yeah. And that's how it opens. Like this is a guy who opted out of self-care because he's just so beat up and distraught and blames himself and hasn't got resolution from it. Yeah, I like that. How are you finding the phase? Are you phased by it?
Yeah, actually, I was a little disappointed with Undertown because I got it in my head it'd be some cool like city, and it was just a dark cave that opened up to a ballroom.
Yeah, the way they
A little
described it as
disappointed.
well, where it's just like,
Yeah,
well, the building sank and then they just built on it. But I will say that I was so fascinated by the description of that architecture, like if it was unique to Chicago, that part of me wanted to look it up to see if it was true. Did I? No. But I was tempted to.
it's probably true because I live in Seattle, and Seattle has the same thing. They built over the old city, so you can actually take tours of the underground city.
Wow, I'm learning so much about America. Thanks for the chat, though. Love to hear your thoughts on
Yeah.
that one. Lisa, you there? You haven't finished the reading requirement for this week.
I have not. I suck.
No,
yeah,
you don't at all. You probably read 4 other books.
Yeah, I procrastinated starting too long and forgot I had a birthday dinner last night, so I didn't get to read much yesterday. I only made it probably about to chapter 10 or 11.
Okay.
So
First impressions on those.
that's fine. I'm cool with spoilers, but yeah, so far I'm liking it. I'm liking getting to meet all the new characters, and I feel like I'm learning more about Harry's backstory that I didn't feel like I got in the first couple books. So I'm liking that. But yeah, I just got past where Elaine came back. So
oh, good. Then I can spoil that for you. Well, not spoil it,
yeah.
I guess, by saying it's actually really great to have someone who was living and breathing in that really kind of important time in his life come back into his life.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Put her in timeout, Maude. She didn't read her homework.
Who said that?
That was my sister.
Okay, I'm so glad that was your sister, because otherwise I thought there was a bit of a split personality thing going, and I was so excited to meet the other you.
Yeah, she laughs every week because she when she hears me talking on TV, she's laughing because she thinks it sounds like her.
Yeah, that's what really got me, because it sounded like you but a little bit higher, and that's what I was like, what? Pylang says, sis told on you. If you're in the Discord under reading, Lisa's actually got a photo of what it looks like for her doggone lap, and then we're on the TV. We're on the TV with the chat down the side. It's pretty cool, actually. That's a good setup. Am I feeling a little bit more... is there more pressure because I'm like giant instead of being this tiny little part of my screen? Yeah. But now I'm back to being a TV host, so what? Thanks for that. Also, your sister sounds really cool. Can she come into book club? No answer is an answer.
I don't know how well that would work. She usually works Wednesday nights. She actually just got off.
Got it. Oh, the dreaded Wednesdays. Oh, we love it for the book clubs, though. Kate, I would love to hear your thoughts, and do not hold back. And I also want to address a comment that you've just made as well, which I find really interesting.
Well, do you want to address the comment first?
Your call, your moment, your microphone.
I was going to say, like, I'm kind of bummed at how much I'm not liking this one. I mean, I've had issues with the other Dresden books, but it's like I don't regret reading them. It's like there's parts of them that I really like, and it's just kind of like, weighs with the parts I'm just like, annoyed with. But this one I feel extra annoyed with, which is unfortunate because I normally love stuff with Fae intrigue in it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just, I don't know. I think going into a Dresden book, I'm like, okay, there's going to be like some bizarre, like I'm going to roll my eyes at some of this stuff. And, it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
But coupling with like with the against the indigenous wizard and Martha Liberty, but then
can you
also,
explain
like,
Martha Liberty to me as an Australian who
it's a very like black stereotype kind of thing. It's not
is it
it's not as overtly racist as Injun Joe.
What's Injun?
But it's just one of those
I
like
just don't know it. Sorry. It's
the
just
slurry way to say Indian. It usually was by like
I didn't know
casual,
that.
like-
I thought okay, I'm listening to the audiobook, full confession. I thought it was Engine Joe. Like
No,
in a
it's-
car. Engine Joe. And I was like, sure. Keep listening.
No,
Like
it's the way a like super southern accent redneck kind of person would say Indian. They'd say like Indian.
well, that explains the Ebenezer thing because he is technically like a bit of a redneck, yeah? But then to
Yeah,
explore that and to not have it be corrected and not be like, you know what? This is-
American Indian, indigenous.
Yes.
Engine Joe
Yes.
would
No,
be
I got
cool.
that. I got the Native
Engine
American
Joe
part.
is an amazing nickname. There needs to be a character named Engine Joe.
That's what I thought it was this whole time. And then the Martha Liberty, I mean, the Liberty, if it has no context or no meaning, is just a word. But yeah, now I'm
But-
seeing the
so-
2 for
so
2
then
for
there
what
was,
it
like-
is.
So it's just like that kind of added, you know, when you get like frustrated and you have like, oh, you can get frustrated so much and then it just like boils over into just like, oh,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes.
There's also like, oh, this is also a super kind of subtle bigoted thing when non-gay people use the word fruit.
Oh, yep.
Like the part where it's like they were fighting in the hallway and there was like, you know, the nosy
Your
neighbor
fruit.
calling them fruits.
Your fruit. Yeah.
It's not as bad as the other F word, but
Yeah.
it's still like a subtle. So when straight people use that word, it's a little like, it's not cool.
Tiri's making kind of a good
So
point.
that was just
that the senior council members are actually centuries old. So it's like, are they, and there is a big theme with the council that they are not about change and that they are stuck in their ways. Is that a way to reinforce that?
I think we also have to think that this book was written not recently.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's an old trope where you're like, oh, we have to show that this person is set in their ways, so they're obviously a bigot. As opposed to, I think I saw a comment in the Discord about it where it's like, you could just show that they are like, no, I'm not going to use a computer. So it's just like, but it's like, back then it's like, this is a way to show that they're set in their ways. The same way where it's like, oh, let's make this villain bad in a movie and be mean to children or animals. It's
Yes,
just a
yes.
It's super lazy. Yeah, it didn't age too
But
good. Piling.
it's effective in a way where it's just like, you do that one thing and it's known. Like it's set.
And then, so it was just like a lot of like subtle frustration things piling up. And Maeve is white and she's got dreadlocks. And it's just like,
yeah, I didn't,
a lot of
again,
just,
I didn't.
oh,
The outfit was like, I got Christina Aguilera dirty vibes. Again, 2004,
A little bit, yeah.
where she's wearing the freaking arseless chaps, but she also is blonde with black chunks in it and dreadlocks. And the way that they described the outfit, well, Jim Butcher described this outfit, it was the tight leather pants with the... I noticed the outfits more than anything else because that other stuff, like I said, if you don't know, you don't know. But it was like, you know, it had cutouts on the side and it was like a very midriff top. And I was just like, oh, he's just describing Christina Aguilera in her dirty phase. But I didn't see that cultural impact of it because like my Aussie white brain goes to pop culture. But that's super interesting. And Piling's right. Maud's learning all kind of racism tonight. Yes, I am. And I will keep learning.
There are parts of it I'm not hating that I'm like enjoying.
What are
like,
those
the mystery
parts?
part of it is the mystery part of it is good. And there was that comment about the scene with Aurora, how
Yes.
like she kind of like opened those floodgates there. Was that the comment you wanted to talk about?
Yes, I did. I'll scroll up to get it again. People who this is what Kate said earlier. People who have severe trauma often deal with it by not dealing with it, by trying to solve something that is impossible to solve. So is it?
And I have a real world example.
Yeah.
That fits with this perfectly. That happened to a friend of mine, not to me. That she had a baby who was born as early as a baby can be born and still live.
Oh wow.
And so when he was in the natal unit at the hospital, she said that in order to try and deal with that, she would search like Google and Google and Google ways, like, you know, anything that could like, you know, help or something because she felt so helpless.
Right.
And she realized at a point there was no way she was ever going to be able to Google what will cure my baby from dying? It's just like, so she's trying to solve this thing that she couldn't solve because of just all this trauma, and she'd had miscarriages before. So this was like, you know, a repeating kind of like nightmare. And he's totally fine now. But at that time,
It was all she
obviously
could
you just
do.
have to let,
Yeah.
you can't do anything. You just have to let the baby be in the incubator and let the doctors do their thing.
Yeah, but you need to be
So-
doing something.
Yes, and it's like, obviously she's not going to find how to cure, I'm not going to say her name, so
Premature.
baby X. Yeah,
Yeah.
how to cure baby X.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was never going to happen, but that's how you're so desperate because you're so lost
Yes, I am not
that
a
it's like, I'm going to like, yeah, like I'm going to cure vampirism
Yeah.
for Harry. And it's like, that is impossible.
It's never been done.
Maybe
but it's
possible,
like-
but not for him.
You need that hope. And I'm not a shrink, but I think it's kind of easy to deduce that it's trying to find control when there is none.
Well, because he feels that it was his fault. It's like the whole thing with him and the vampires. Even though the vampires would have done something, like they're vampires. They're shitty vampires. They would have done something awful anyway.
He told her not to
Susan-
come. She
Yeah,
came.
she put herself in that situation, but because he also has that chauvinistic kind of like damsel in distress thing that
Yeah.
is like, I, Harry Dresden, the man, had to save my girlfriend from vampirism, and now she's a vampire, so I have to cure vampirism to save it because I can't deal with the guilt that I feel over this, even though, you know, it was just like, it wasn't his fault. It was just all these situations came together. It was the vampire's fault. And that's the thing where anyone like who's like an abuse victim or anything, it's like, oh, I should have been nicer. I should have been
Yeah.
quieter so my mom wouldn't have hit me. I shouldn't have worn that dress so he wouldn't have like, you know, assaulted me, like that kind of thing.
But then you ramp
So
up his
Harry has that
chivalry
thing-
/ chauvinistic
Yeah.
trait where it's like a
Yeah.
person I love, a woman I love, got hurt. And that is going to trigger the fact that that was his number one job, was to make sure she didn't get hurt. She did. That's on him. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
Even though like, because he also has a thing with the chivalry that it's like he doesn't see her own agency in a way too, because she made her own choices.
Yeah.
And it sucks that it happened to her, but you know,
Not without
Bad
a
things
lot
happen.
of warning.
yeah, bad things happen, and sometimes they're traumatic bad things, and it's easier to either try and solve the problem in a ridiculous, impossible way or
Yes.
filter blame,
Yeah.
because it's a lot easier than dealing trauma, because dealing with it time and a lot of pain.
Yeah, and acceptance, which is really hard as well. Andrew says, Harry feels that as a wizard, he has no limits. He feels that he should be able to fix anything. Yeah. And that's it. Using magic, using research, using Bob the Skull, you know, there's got to be an answer. Just because no one else has found it yet doesn't mean that he won't. And then Jay says he now has to take care of Murphy and Elaine against the Fae. So it's almost replaced one with two. Yeah. Good chat about that one. Always great perspectives. Thank you for educating me big time with that one. It's just so funny. Like, it must be so interesting seeing the other side where it's like, Maude, don't you know what this means? I thought it was engine. Like, bounce. Oh dear. Sprinkles, we're going to go with you next. How are you finding book 4? I believe you've finished the book and said it's your favorite by far.
Yes, as I was talking to Darian earlier in the Discord, because initially I thought we had to read the whole book. So I was like, oh crap, I better finish this book. Because I read The Wheel of Time again, you know, for the
Yep.
Nerdist Book Club. I thought it was the Nerdist Book Club that was coming up. And then I didn't read the Dresden File book. So I was like, oh, I better finish this book. So I read 2 of them very quickly.
Oh, got it. Yes. How are you going with Wheel of Time then?
Oh, I finished both books.
Wow. What are you going to do for the next week?
Enjoy my vacation. I don't know
Yeah,
what to tell you.
fair enough. Good.
But what I was saying in the Discord, like I said, is that I know that there are some problematic issues in this book. I understand that. I'm fully aware of it. But the one thing that the reason why it resonated resonated with me, I should say, was because the scenario like that Harry was in kind of like triggered all of the trauma that I've survived from.
Right.
You know, and it was the kind of like opening up old wounds and being like, wow, look how far I've come.
Oh,
And
that's
then feeling
good.
really proud that I've moved forward, you know, and I'm progressing, you know.
Oh, that is great.
And
Because like usually when you're confronted by that, it can go two ways. It can pull you right back down again and just like, oh, feel really heavy on the chest. Or it could be like, oh my gosh, I can recognize that and also see where I'm at now and be so proud and excited about that growth. Well done. That's awesome.
Exactly.
Love that.
Exactly. I had to call my sister a few times and do some breathing exercises, but I worked through it. It was great. And,
I hear you on that as well. That's the thing. That's the chest pain I was telling you about. Yeah, no, I get that. Timing as well. Our second Andrew has joined the chat. Navarine, a big hello to you. I love it. You joined the chat, you saw the show, and now you're in it. How are you?
Good. Had to work today, but other than that, yeah, I don't know.
So you've read the Dresden Files. Tell me about how you get started on them, what you thought of them, how many you've done. Andrew 2.0.
I've read all the books up to... Why have I forgotten the last book that came out? Battleground?
Battleground, yes.
And yeah, it was amazing. I wish it was one book, but that's another day. And I honestly haven't read Summer Knight in a few years at least. I wish I could remember when I did, but it's a good book regardless. I'll say that, but I don't know what else to
add to it. Hey, we just love having you. Just love having you here. I love that. Like the fact that it's like, hey, if you want to join the group, you can. And you did. Awesome. So you got access to the reading chat now as well. Have a poke around the Discord. Lovely to have you there. We guarantee a warm welcome in the community to anyone who joins. What does it say though, Andrew 2.0? What does it say about the Dresden Files? And Thierry, when we get to you, because you'll be next, I'd love to chat with you about it too. Because I haven't listened to these books for about 3 or 4 years. What does it say if they're a little bit forgettable after that time?
I honestly don't know. I don't know what to say to that. I have words I want to say. I
think it's because there's a lot of the books. Yeah. There's a lot of them. And it's like for me, I listen to the audio book because James Masters is the best ever. But what happens is as soon as I, kind of like Andrew 1.0's wife, as soon as I finish one, I'm on to the next one. So, and this is what happens a lot when I talk to Thierry about it, where it's like, I can't tell you the name of the book. I can tell you the moments, but it's all one big timeline. And I can't split it up into actual books because I've listened to it all in one go. And so I think for me, it's like, oh, that's right. This is where it introduces this. And maybe that's the end of it.
Yeah, that's how I feel, I think. But I haven't really read the books. I plan on doing a read-through as soon as I can figure out what books I have in print and what books I would have to read electronically, and yeah.
I recommend the audiobook. I really do.
I have them all.
Okay. Because you're on book club, book chat, I'd like to learn a little bit more about your reading habits. What's the last book you finished? And what's your favorite book ever?
It was Battleground, and favorite book. Of course, I want to say Dresden Files, but I don't know. Lord of the Rings was good when I read through it. Rob Engel did the audiobook, I believe.
Oh, okay.
At least the one I read. Engel, one of those. But yeah, I don't know on the books. I can't even remember all the books I've read. It's none of the ones I had to read in school, except there was one notable mention, and I should have that ready when I say that.
Is it
What was
fantasy?
it?
Is that your genre of
No.
choice?
Yeah, they're just sci-fi, fantasy,
Mm-hmm.
and Ender's Game. Ender's Game. Favorite book, right there.
I don't know
I don't know
why that just
why
popped into my head. I kid you not.
I just, and what's really weird is my school district that I went to for the last half of high school, 11th and 12th grade, 17, 18 years old, and they required that's required reading in 10th grade, the year before this school year. I moved there to this location in 11th grade, so I missed it by a year.
In the curriculum. You know,
But,
I will say, for silver lining with
Go ahead.
that, I found that if you have to read a book and then you have to break it down and you have to get the themes, it's never as good as if you wanted to read the book.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I hated all the books I had to read. But except for that one, I think I would have been fine with that because it was sci-fi.
Yeah.
It was something that I liked. So I think that would have been fine, but I never got to experience it in a class. So anyway.
I read Ender's Game in 2009 and I picked it up and I did not put it down until I finished the book. I read it in one sitting. Oh, Colleen. Lovely to have you this time, though, Colleen. Thanks for joining us in that chat. Toaster Poster chimed in about the conversation before where it's like you have a series of 16 or 17 books. What happens? And Toaster Poster says, yeah, the books are one big blob to me. I just remember moments. Chris says, favorite book of the Dresden Files is Hard. And then Piling says, I'm only part of Listen Club. Reading? That's hard. Lisa also chastised me, which is fair, saying, way to put him on the spot. Yeah, it's what I do. Everyone knows that. And then Bulb Dim says, look, there's 17/18 books, and as I age, memory fades. But said before that, Puller Buds, Andrew 1.0 says, I have read it all twice, and I'm now listening to them. I love coming back to them. Yes, I agree. It's like just, especially like, even if you forget it, you remember liking it. And so when you start it, you're excited because you know you're in for a good time. Emberance Aaliyah, Lisa, I know that you are a backer. Did you want to jump into the chat, into the book chat in Discord? Jump on in and be a part of the show. I will read your comment. Anyway, said, this time I was much more attuned to things that I kind of glossed over before in this book. I think maybe this is where Jim Butcher started swinging more for the fences in his storytelling and fell short or was heavy-handed in some areas. But he continued to learn and get more skill and finesse that we see later on. Great comment. Love your input. Fantastic with that. Pullabud says, favorite Dresden Files book is Briefcases. I don't want to spoil it, but it does tell a story 3 times. Same story, but 3 different character perspectives. That's what they do in The Last Duel as well. Do I recommend it? No. But thank you so much. It was really great to get to chat with you, Andrew 2.0. Thierry.
Hi.
Let's go. Love this book.
Oh, this would be my 5th or 6th time listening to it.
Wow. Just for those that don't know, I got Thierry into the book series 2017, 2018?
19, because it was supposed to be our January or February book for Alpha Book Club.
Yep.
And then that went down the window. And when I started working, I needed something to listen to. So I started the series in May with Stormfront. And I finished all the books up to Skin Game in 5 months. And then I started back at the beginning and then I got the anthology short stories, and so I listened in chronological order for the second time.
I gotcha.
Yeah. And the short stories also brings a little bit more details of like the first short story is how Harry met Murphy. Mm-hmm. And then you get a little bit more short stories like the one before Grave Peril is B for Bigfoot, when you learn a little bit more of Harry's character towards teenagers and how of a good parent he could be.
Yeah, that's right, the college dorm. I remember that. Chris says, you started Geek Bomb Book Club with Wheel of Time and Stormfront. You had me hooked. Fair enough. I need to reread the short stories, says Andrew 2.0. I haven't gotten around to it. Sorry if Andrew 2.0 is a bit of a bummer. It's just how we have Adam and beat 'em in this community as well. It's first in, gets the gets the first number, and it goes from there. Why do I do it? Because I'll never be put in that position. Toaster Poster says, I'm going to check out Ender's Game. It is very good. Full disclosure, the author is a bigot. He's a homophobe. But private life aside, it is one of the better psychological sci-fi books of its time, even to this day. And I think it was what inspired War Game with Matthew Broderick. So if you want to get an idea of what it's sort of about. But yeah, that dude's pretty awful. I can't remember his name. I decompartmentalized it. I don't think I watched the Orson Scott Card. Thanks, Chris. I don't think I watched the movie. I like Sex Education's, what's his name? What is it? It's a tricky name. It's a strange name. It starts with A, I believe. And it sounds made up. What's his bloody name from Sex Education? Art Incognito. Asa Butterfield. It is. It's Asa Butterfield. Art Incognito. Is that the name? Were you pretending that was the name? Because even if you weren't, that's the joke I like. Okay. Hey, let's just talk a little bit about...
you said it was a fake name.
My name is Art Incognito. I'm going to talk about the blurb real quick, just for those that don't really know it. We need to get a snort counter, because I do if I laugh a lot. Alrighty, so ever since his girlfriend left town to deal with her newly acquired taste for blood, Harry Dresden has been down and out in Chicago. He can't pay his rent. He's alienating his friends. He can't even recall the last time he took a shower. The only professional wizard in the phone book has become a desperate man. And just when it seems that things can't get any worse, in saunters the Winter Queen of Fairy. She has an offer that she has an offer he can't refuse. And if he wants to free himself of the supernatural hold that his fairy godmother has over him, we say fairy instead of fae. It's fae, but fairy, even though it's written fairy. This is why I listen to books. And hopefully end his run of bad luck. All he has to do is just find out who murdered the Summer Queen's right-hand man, the Summer Knight, and clear the Winter Queen's name. It seems simple enough, but Harry knows better than to get caught in the middle of fairy politics until he finds out that the fate of the entire world rests on solving this case. No pressure or anything. So that's the blurb. It is written in 2002. You bet your butt if I read that for the first time, I would be in. And then the plot points that we are introduced to, I could go. Do we want to go sort of like chapter by chapter, moment by moment? Do we want to get a chronological unfolding of what happens, or do we just want to hit on the new plot points that we get in this book? Unmute and cast your vote.
Let's go chapter to chapter.
Alrighty, cool. I will be reading from the Dresden Files fandom, which is the Summer Knight wiki, because I wasn't going to do it myself. Alrighty, the Red Court of Vampires declares war on the White Council. We kind of, I do like that we've got consequence from the last book. Now, this is not a clear set right and wrong situation. This is, Dresden was put in a position where it was a trap and they knew that he could be provoked. And if he was provoked, and if he does anything to disrupt the vampires and the orders of protocol or whatever it's called, thank you for following as well, that they would have grounds for war. And that's what's happened. And that's because Susan Rodriguez walked into a goddamn trap and they were like, yoink, we're going to turn her. So that's what's going on. It's 2 years after the events of Stormfront. So it is kind of like half a year per book. Harry Dresden, struggling with finding a cure for Susan Rodriguez's vampiric infection, is approached by Mab, the Winter Queen. Now, Mab purchased Dresden's debt from his fairy godmother, the Lananshi. Queen Mab tells Dresden that he can pay off the debt by doing 3 favors. 3 favors. His first favor is to find the murderer of the Summer Knight, Ronald Rule, or Roll. Forget how they say it. And Rule. And recover his stolen mantle, declaring Dresden her chosen emissary. Of course, Dresden refuses the request, but is forced by the White Council to accept it as his trial, else he'd be stripped of his title of wizard and handed over to the Red Court vampires as a peace offering. This is something that happens quite a lot in this series, where it's like Dresden is championing a jurisdiction, a council, a form of order that doesn't actually support him. And we see this when it comes to Elaine as well, where he's like, hand yourself in. And she's like, the people that are trying to kill you? What? So I feel like the White Council is a bit of a blind spot to Dresden, because as we know in here, set rules, there's way too many variables. Got yoinked. Chris says he had fey courts, vampire courts, and his own wizard politics kicking his butt, along with a lost vampire girlfriend. He had a lot on his plate, this book. And Navarine says some books pick up from where they last left off, and then some are a little bit later. John Ronald Rule is J.R.R. Tolkien's real name? Stop it. Jay asked how old Billy is. I thought he was about 1920 at this stage. Thierry's like my fact checker. Anything I don't know, I pass off to him. Thierry, how old's Billy in this? They're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Did we lose you, Thierry? Or are you doing a little bit of Googling?
With the Googling, Billy would be around 2021 in this book because he was in college in Full Moon, which was a year ago.
Look at that. They're still in college. Loving that. You ask, we'll answer. At his home, Dresden finds Elaine Mallory, his former fellow apprentice and lover, who is the emissary of the Summer Court and heavily indebted to Aurora, the Summer Lady. Are we seeing a theme here? Dresden goes to Rule's funeral looking for a group of teenage, half-human, half-fae changelings who were Rule's friends, but they flee and attack, believing him to be service to Winter. Dresden gets information. Oh, Lisa. Lisa's just posted a photo of her snuggling with her dog, and it literally stopped me mid-sentence. So sweet. Dresden gets information and a guide to Winter and Summer Ladies. Dresden's interview with the sadistic Winter Lady, Maeve, convinces him that she did not kill the Summer Knight. So this is the detective part. We have a problem, find out who the killer is, and it's up to him to deduce, to get it together, to start questioning witnesses, to do all that kind of stuff. It doesn't say it in this summary, but seeing Billy learn about the Fae, I felt was really, really interesting. And this is a really clever... This is a really clever writing skill where it's like Dresden, who apparently knows more than the majority of the people in the book, bar the White Council, and anyone older than him. But when Dresden is in the know, he will team up with a Murphy or a Billy and someone who's very new into the world, and that's acted as the exposition. When it's something that Dresden doesn't know, you are teaming up with like a Bob the Skull or someone who is, or an Ebenezer, someone who's got a lot of depth in the knowledge to be able to pass it on to Dresden. So no matter what, as the reader, you are able to actively get information no matter the situation. Very smart. I'm going to actually pop up White Council. Where is Billy the Wolf? Terry has got casting here. So Miles Teller is your Billy. Do you want to jump on and talk us through your casting choices for the Wolves?
Yes, for the alphas, I have a memory of a goldfish for names, so I get to get my PDF real quick.
We've got Miles Teller, we've got Mackenzie Davis?
Yeah, Mackenzie Davis as Georgia.
Yep.
Billy's girlfriend.
Who's taller, should be taller. I love that dynamic. Yep.
And then I got Andy, Amanda, Siegfried, and Kirby would be Andrew Garfield.
My favorite part
I
about
put those
Andrew
two
Garfield,
because those are the 4 of the alphas that's gonna be more prominent in the future books. All the other, because in the first half of this book, he says there's like 12 of them, but most of them are gonna leave after college.
So they're college students, and what
Yes.
I love about every time someone casts Andrew Garfield, especially because he's in Tick Tick Boom at the moment, playing someone who's about to turn 30. Dude's 38. Andrew Garfield's 38.
He looks really young.
Yeah, he's gonna be the next Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
That's what we can just absolutely safely assume there. So I like that. Let's have a look at the casting for the White Council. We've got the Merlin. You're thinking Jeremy Irons there. I love that. You need someone who's a bit of an asshole.
And a lot of presence with his voice.
You got the Gatekeeper. I don't know who this is. Amir Waked.
He was in that movie with Scarlett Johansson, Lucy.
Oh, okay.
He's a Mediterranean French actor.
Got it. And then Michelle Yeoh as the Ancient Mai. So they're one lot of casting in the council. And then you've got Angela Bassett as Martha Liberty, which now I understand.
Because this described her with the white hair, and it just could see her with white hair from Black Panther.
Yes, I like that. Graham Greene as Listens to Wind.
Had to put a Canadian.
Jeff
Well, there's
Bridges.
actually two. And Jeff Bridges is just like
Ebenezer McCoy. You've got
yeah,
that southern
a lot of
drawl.
presence, but also like he's a big Colbert.
Mm-hmm. I like that. In the comments, weigh in. Oh, yes, Kate. Elijah Wood syndrome. Forever a boy. And then you've got, let's look at the courts. You've got the mothers. The summer mother is Angela Lansbury. Oh. You've got the winter mother, Judi Dench. Is that because one's sweet and one's got this severity that I love?
Yes. Like Madame M as the winter mother.
I dig that. You're thinking for the winter queen and Titania.
Yes,
It
because
should
they
be
are
Charlize
twins.
Theron. Yeah. She has been the evil queen.
Yeah, in Huntsman's.
She does a very good job of that. And then you've got the summer and winter lady. You're thinking Lily James for summer and
Yes.
Lily Collins for winter.
Yes.
They are both incredibly stunning women. And then
Which fits with the Fae.
yeah, they're stunning. And then we've got Alan Richson, who I interviewed this year. He's so lovely. You're saying that he should be the heroin addict, abusive, violent Lord Slate.
Yes, because of I know how he could play that with his character of Hawk in Titans when he was an alcoholic.
Oh, okay. And then Toot Toot is Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, best voice actor ever.
It's so funny. Movies like Raya and the Last Dragon, and again recently with what is the one I just saw? Encanto. Any Disney movie that has an animal sidekick, which is all of them. They are.
He's
all
the chicken in
voiced.
Moana.
He's the chicken in Moana. They are all voiced by Alan Tudyk.
I also would recommend watching Resident Alien.
Oh, good.
Best comedy I've seen into 2021.
Resident Alien? Oh, that's what it was. I thought it was like Resident Evil alien version. And I was like, no. But Resident Alien, yes, he plays an alien that's acclimatizing. But doesn't he play a detective in that?
He's a forensic, and he kind of do a little bit of detective because the cops in the city is very not good.
Got it. Back to the casting though. We've got the Changelings. Anna Taylor-Joy as Lily. Logan Lerman's Fix. I like that.
We've heard and only seen in pictures, but yes.
And then Noah Centino as Ace and Beanie Feldstein as Meryl. Beanie Feldstein's too nice for Meryl, I think. Beanie's just...
Meryl's really nice.
Yeah. Meryl's got a heartbreaking story. Oh my gosh, the way that she talks about her heritage, you're just like, oh man,
Yes.
that's tough.
She's like a perfect D&D character.
Yeah, good point.
Kind
Continuing.
of like in a half-orc barbarian in training.
Yeah, yep. Keeping on with the casting, this is your Elaine Mallory, Olivia Wilde.
Yes. And for flashbacks, I put Rufus Sewell as Justin Dumorn.
And Justin Dumorn
The
is...
adoptive father figure / master of Elaine and Dresden when they were teenagers.
Rufus Sewell's such a legend. I actually asked him, because he plays a lot of villains, and I said, as an actor, are you kind of like, yes, lots of work, and then also, man, I just come across like a villain. I think I said asshole, because I have no shame, apparently. And he laughed, and he goes, yeah, it's a lot more fun. And I was like, great. Let's get back to the story that we have here. Approached by the changelings to find their friend Lily, after Dresden tells Meryl and Fix that he will look for Lily, Dresden discovers Elaine in the back of his car, dying of multiple stab wounds. He follows Elaine's delirious advice to take her to the Summer Lady, Aurora. Aurora will heal Elaine, briefly comforts Dresden, the part of the book that we like the most. She is not forthcoming with any details on Rule's murder or Lily's disappearance. Instead, she explains that the death of the Summer Knight and the theft of his mantle of power shifted the power balance to favor Winter. So Summer now must attack Winter at midsummer to maintain control over their remaining power. And so that's where we'll stop that. Some of the new plot points that we have: Elaine Mallory, she's still alive. We were led to believe that Elaine died in a house fire. That killed Justin Dumorn. But it turns out she's been living under the protection of the Summer Court. Believable, convenient. How did we find that piece in the story? Unmute whoever wants to join that conversation.
I have something to say about that too.
Go on, Thierry. Yeah, Kate.
Well, Dresden said he did the deal with his fairy godmother Lianxi exactly the same moment he went to fight Justin Dumorn to get more power. And right after, that's when Elaine did the Lianxi's Winter Court fairy.
Yeah.
And then Elaine, after leaving the burning house, did a deal with the Summer Court.
Oh,
fairies.
So they both paired off and did exactly the same thing.
In opposite clans, yeah.
That's not clear in this book, but I can understand how that would be the thing. I am in Team Kate, which is very convenient. Jay is suspicious of Elaine because it's awfully convenient. Jimmy, you said you had something to add?
Oh, yeah, just a little thing. I just, like you were saying before, I found it very convenient because, it's like, for lack of a better term, like the old movie trope where it's like, haha, you thought I was dead. And then they just appear and then throw a wrench in the whole entire thing, That's the gist.
We've got a raid happening at this very second. Michelle Boyd is raiding with a party of 74, which is amazing. Welcome to Book Club on Wednesdays. We do book chat. If anyone's read Dresden Files, that's what we're currently talking about. Marjoria, thank you so much for the follow. Erwat, thanks for the follow. Death Queen Vex, fantastic name. Thanks for the follow. Max is like, hey, I was in both of the streams. Yay! I love that you crossed the streams. So many first-time chatters happening. Neomancer, thanks. Lovely to hear from you. Michelle, yoo-hoo. I love that new emote. Bingo Bobcat saying the Boyd Band is here as well. Lovely to have you, Bingo Bobcat, as always. Xenos KB, thank you. Lovely to have you here. Erwat, and everyone's chatting for the first time. Thank you. And thanks, CD88 too. How you been? Michelle, what'd you get up to? I know that you can type something in the chat and it says what they were playing. What was it? I can't remember what you typed. No, I got no idea. Hi, Nicole Smash. Thanks for the follow. Xenos KB, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you guys. Playing some Phasmo. Have you ever played? I played once, Michelle. I know you love that game and I've seen it and I will watch because watching you play it, you're very calculated. You are very sort of thinking over feeling with emotions, and so you get the job done. And I forget that it's a scary game because you come at it with such strategy. This freaked out bitch over here, this very sensitive, scared woman Terrible. I played it on Halloween. Some ghost woman at a camp at night hunted me down, and I don't think I've recovered to this date. No one has ever accused me of thinking. You do strategize well in that game. I have seen it. Robaticus Maximus says it was a great Halloween stream. Yeah, because when I on Halloween activated a channel point spend where a blood-curdling shriek scream would activate, and I always thought it was one of the people that I was playing with dying. I lost 7 years off my life expectancy with that ability in the channel point spend. I'm surprised I'm not completely grey. But lovely to have you there. Thank you so much for the raid, Michelle. I'm very, very grateful. Appreciate that. Have you read the Dresden Files, if you're still there, Michelle? Have you read any of the Dresden Files? Because I know that we nerd out a lot and have a lot of nerdy interests that are similar. Thierry says, with the stream scream, it was great. I still have 4. Oh, I don't need that in my life. Michelle, it's better with people. You're welcome to come in with us and play. You've read Dresden, just not this one. It's book 4, Summer Knight. This is the book where we're introduced to the fairy courts for the first time and start understanding that sort of political intrigue mixed in with our favorite detective procedural that's happening. Procedural. That's a word. That's a mouthful. We've just been talking about some of the themes. But for anyone who is still here hanging out, that's new to book chat, please let me know the best book you've ever read. What is your favorite book of all time? I'd love to chat about it. And if you listen to Audible, what speed do you listen at? Because we've got the fastest is 2. The average is 1.2. 1.3? 1.2, would we say? Gonna grab food. We need to hang. I know. Eat up. I've got dinner very, very soon as well, which I'm very excited about. I will consider playing horror games. Pew. Lovely to see you there, Michelle. Thanks again. What, Puller Buds? Your favorite book of all time is The Giver? We covered that for Alpha Book Club. If anyone's an OG for Alpha Book Club, this was like a big staple of the American education curriculum. Oh, you raged at my opinion on it? Did you not like that I couldn't give a shit about that book? I used that pun many a times. The Giver was my favorite that I read for school. I did not like The Giver. Darian's just texted in the Discord chat, favorite book. It is A Storm of Swords, A Song of Ice and Fire, book 3. Navarine says, uh-oh, on favorite book. I just had a thought. Uh-oh. When you preface it like that, uh-oh. What is it? What's about to come?
I just had a thought. I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier when you asked.
Uh-oh.
But, and this author is controversial, so here we go. It's Ayn Rand, and the book is Anthem. And I had to read it from school, and it was... I love the book. I haven't read it in years, but it's hard to explain it short, in a short explanation, but it's like a futuristic society. The concept of I is foreign, so they all say we, and I don't know, it's just weird. But for some reason, that book caught my attention, and I couldn't put it down when I had to read it in school.
Yeah, okay. I'd not heard of that one. But Max says, I hate Ayn Rand. hate. Terry says, I hated the movie, but made the book look better. All right. Hello, Salarak. Salarak says, favorite book series would be The Dark Artificers. Oh, I don't know that one either. That sounds fun. True Scorn says Night Watch Discworld by Terry Pratchett. I have tried to read Terry Pratchett. I think I bought it way back when I was like reading a book a day and didn't quite land that one. And Toaster Poster says my favorite book is The Martian. Oh, thank you. You posted it there. Okay. We the Living, Anthem. Lisa says that's Cassandra Clare. Love her books. What's Cassandra Clare? Oh, your favorite book is Cassandra Clare? I 2009. I read that entire series and I could not put them down. I absolutely just churned through them. But that twist, am I in love with my brother? I just didn't need that again in my life, you know? Anyway, we've got to finish the book. Oh, am I wrapping up already? No, we need to talk. Oh, Dark Artifices is Cassandra Clare. Oh, is it? Dark Artifices. Whose favorite book was the book? Never not funny. Whose favorite book was Dark Artifices? Oh, Salarak. Lisa, if you're there, can you tell me about the Dark Artifices?
Well, all her series kind of go together, but the Dark Artifices was set back in kind of England, probably, I don't remember what years, like the 1800s or 1900s. But it's kind of got the same themes as this. Like it's got fae and, you know, supernatural creatures, but there's also, I don't know how to explain it without going into all her running series, because it's a lot. She's got a lot of series that kind of all go together.
Is it? Oh, Kate's wondering if you're mistaking Dark Artifices for Infernal Devices.
Nope, that's another one of her series.
Dark Artifices is the Julian Emma series. What's that?
Oh, yeah, you're right. I did mistake that. Yeah, the Dark Artifices is the one that's set in California. Yeah, she's right.
Is it still?
I did confuse them.
Is it still Cassandra?
But it's all Cassandra Clare. It like follows the same kind of like families in different eras. Like it's all related.
Got it. Because I only read the trilogy. I didn't even read the one that came out after a few years later. I just stopped at the trilogy, and that was back in 2009. Remember they tried to make the movie, and then they did their 4 seasons TV show. The first trilogy is the worst one. Oh, good. No wonder I stopped. Oh well, I'll check it out and see if did you add it into the doc? Is that one of your recommendations, Lise?
I don't remember if I put that one in there. I think she might have a series in the document. I'm not sure.
Got it.
I'd have to look.
Okay. I love that, like, I believe everything, and it's like the chat is so book oriented that it's like you guys get to sort of fact check each other. I love it. Toaster Poster says, am I allowed to recommend books? Is that like a Patreon thing? Patreon thing is that we actually have a document of all recommendations that we will choose from when we're doing a book for book club. But as far as just putting recommendations in, the chat's all yours. Go for it. I'd love to hear what kind of books you are interested in. Jay says, my fave as an adult is Ready Player One. My fave as a child was Pet Sematary. I certainly did not read that as a kid. The only Stephen King book I've ever read is The Shining. That's it. Can't choose a favorite book, says Miss Necromancer. One depends on all else. If you went to a deserted island, which book would you bring? I know mine, because it would take me... Oh, come on, light. It would take me a bunch to read it every single time because it's big. Name of the Wind, Patrick Rothfuss. I'd like to have the trilogy, but the third book's not written yet. The second book, we still have to... I'm still trying to convince Nerdist to do it good. How to Make Boats Out of Sand, the book. Very clever. You also read Dark Tower for Alpha Book Club. I sure did. I didn't like reading that book, and I certainly didn't finish that series. Max says, classical literature, Outlaws of the Marsh, more modern literature, probably Johnny Dies at the End, trilogy. I've not heard of that one either. Recommend books. How to Read by Emily Post. I don't know if that's a joke or not. Yeah, I think if there's like a lesson that we've learnt from this particular book chat, it's just that there's so many freaking books, and to differentiate between books in a series or books by the same author, it's a task. It's a hard ask there. Oh, there you go. Jimmy's actually applying logic to that joke, which is when sand is heated, it becomes glass, so you can actually make a boat out of glass. That's really smart. Any other... Oh, yeah, the conversations that I wanted to bring up about this particular, the first half of Summer Knight, the depth that we are seeing in friendship with Harry and Murphy. So the first 3 books, Harry's never really used magic in front of her. She has seen evidence of magic. She obviously looks to his services to help in an area that she does not understand. But the only kind of real taste of magic she's had is being infiltrated by Kravos, who does psychic damage magic at night and infiltrates where you're most vulnerable, a lot like Freddy Krueger. And that Kravos, or this particular entity, this ghost, was able to take on Dresden's form. So that's the only sort of magic that she's been privy to, but this time he casts a spell in front of her. So I think what we are seeing now is that there's been enough trust earned between Harry and Murphy that, exactly right, Chris, Harry let her in, told her what's going on, told her the balance of the world is at risk. So a big part here, the big lesson that Harry's learned is that he just cannot do it all on his own. He can't carry all the burden all the time. And he's doing it to protect Murphy, but Murphy feels more helpless or punished or resentful when she's left out. And I think that this is a trait that really got Susan Rodriguez hurt, but Susan was a journalist, and I can relate to that. Murphy's a cop. It's a little bit different. Navarine says, has Michael appeared in the books yet? Yes, he was in the third book, the last book that we just had. He was in that one. Kate says it's kind of a path to healing for him, since if he'd been like that with Susan from the start, maybe she would have made different choices. We have a first-time chat happening as well from Shea Rink. Shea Rinke? Hello, welcome to the chat. You agree with Dragon's Ghost, and that was if I was stranded on a deserted island, I'd want a book on how to not be stranded on a deserted island, to which Shea Rinke says word. And that was a book pun, which I appreciate as well. Chris says she's a cop, she has a duty. It's hard for her to think that there is a place that she can't police. I think when you look at skill sets, she has resources, she has a lot more of a skill set to be able to protect herself, but to also call in the cavalry if she needs to as well. There's a lot more behind it. Lisa says, I don't think I could choose a favorite book, but I could tell you one that I've reread the most. It's The Host by Stephanie Meyer. I remember reading that, and I covered The Junket as well back in Sydney for that one. It's the first time I interviewed Saoirse Ronan. It was my go-to reread when I didn't have new books from the library before I got my Kindle. Actually, my ex was in that. Yeah, right at the very end. Blink and you miss him. But I was like, oi! Oh no, The Junket happened here. It was my first year living in LA, 2013. Interviewed Diane Kruger about wearing all white in the middle of a desert. Huh, no one cares, Maude. Ooh. Toasted Poster says, I wanted to recommend the Athena Club trilogy by Theodora Goss. It's a wonderful series. The first book is The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. You know what? If there's a way to get me in, it's A Strange Case. I was like, I like cases, especially if they're strange. And then Alchemist's Daughter, I like the sound of that too. Pailang says my favorite book is The High King. True Scorn says, who cast the nostalgia spell on Maude? Yeah, slippery slope. You bring up Stephanie Meyer's The Host. That's where I go. Emperant Aaliyah says, my username gives away my 2 favorite series. Aaliyah is from Name of the Wind. It is a level, like a sophomore, or a level of passing in the university. If you're an Aaliyah, you are expert. More of an expert. You have more advanced. Emberant. What's Emberant? Because I have a feeling I know it, but I can't get there. Kate says, I've been thinking about my favorite book for this whole time. Gideon the Ninth is really up there. Same with The Huntress by Kate Quinn. Gideon the Ninth, I remember you have suggested this and championed this book a lot. Who writes that one? Is that an N.K. Jemisin book? Who does Gideon the Ninth? Navarine says there's also a book series that I read as a child called The Circle of Magic by Tamora Pierce and The Circle Opens, a continuation of the first series, both 4 books each. Oh, I hadn't heard of those ones either. Oh, Gideon the Ninth is about a lesbian necromancer, and I'm so here for it. Tasman Muri. Got it. Muir. Darian says American Gods by Neil Gaiman is a book that stayed with me for years. We read that for Alpha Book Club. I dug it. The show went a bit batshit. That was more internal than external, though, I think. Jimmy says another good book is Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. My really good friend back in Australia gave me a copy of Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. When I was like really into my fantasy, if it's a vampire, I'll read it. And he goes, how about I give you good literature? Read it. It'll change your life. I brought it with me to the States nearly 9 years ago. It's been sitting on my bedside table for years. I still haven't read it. I brought it with me to Hawaii. Didn't read it. I will. I think I even bought him a copy as like I'm not going to give this back in this life. Emberant Talia says, it's a word in slow regard. Oh no, he was an Emberant. Incarnadine, he was bright with better bright beneath, like copper gilded gold. So what I'm hearing from you is that you're a Patrick Rothfuss stan, which I get, because I just showed you my favorite book. Am I biased? No, I was a big fan of the book before Pat and I even became friends. But in the 2014 iteration of Geek Bomb Book Club, where I was like, I love fantasy, so I'm going to reach out to all the authors to see if they'll chat with me about it for an hour and a half. And I successfully did with quite a few authors, including Scott Lynch, for Lies of Locke Lamora. Pat and I became fast friends. So what's that, 8 years, 7 or 8 years? He and I just clicked. And it was like, let's talk for 45 minutes, 60 minutes tops, nearly 2 hours later. Naverne says you should try to talk to Jim Butcher. I know. I really want to. And I've got an in. I actually already asked my friend who, we were supposed to play a D&D game together during COVID. And then schedules, and it just never happened. But I'll try and get there. Locke Lamora is also in the shortlist of favorite books of all time. Yeah, I loved it. And that's the thing. Like, I had my top favorite fantasy books of all time. And I literally went down the list, found their contact in 2014. I think it was a Google Hangout. The really cool part about it that I liked, though, is that I would get 1 to 2 listeners. Because, like, I love having audience participation. That's the thing about Nerdist Book Club. I love it because I get to talk with Hector and Rachel about it. And an hour can't do us justice when it's 1 book a month. But I also love to hear what everyone else thinks. And so for those, it's like I loved being able to connect a fan with the author as well. I loved those, and I wish I could kind of I was trying to pitch it so that it was like an actual in-set sort of show. But, Ember and Aaliyah says, I loved the chat last year. Oh yeah, I did that through when we were doing The Name of the Wind, and I did the after show and got Pat involved in that. Yeah, he and I just go the whole time. But I'm glad that you're here as well, because all book lovers should have a home to talk about it. Jay says, Locke Lamora comes up every chat. Got to check it out sometime. I would actually like to keep that one up in the new year. I know we've got January already locked in, Project Hail Mary, which, fun fact, did everyone else get the Audible email, the wrap up? That was the #1 book of this year. #1 book of the year. So we are going to tackle that in January. February technically should have been doing book 5 for Dresden Files. I'd be down to do the Lies of Locke Lamora. Oh, we need to finish Mistborn. You're right, Lisa. We do. We need to finish Mistborn. Aren't we doing Project Hail Mary first? Or are we doing the second book of Mistborn?
I think everybody said they wanted to do Project Hail Mary in January, but yeah, but then I think we could do the second book of Mistborn and then do another Dresden and then do the final Mistborn. And I think that would finish us out.
I mean, Mistborn's very dense. I don't know what Project Hail Mary's like because I haven't read it yet, which is really exciting. I actually haven't read book 2 or 3 of Mistborn either. By the way, Lisa is our now official, previously unofficial sort of scheduler, getting people in order, getting chapters to everyone, handling the scheduling side of our book club, which I really appreciate. Anyone who wants to organize, I'm like, oh, thank God. Do it, please. Gory says, shout out Lisa. Hell yeah. Loving that. Play the board. Hello there. Says, I'm a huge fan of both Patrick Rothfuss and Jim Butcher. I found book club because of your interview with Pat about Slow Regard. So that was actually birthed from the chat about Name of the Wind. Can we link that, Gory? Actually, if you jump onto our YouTube page and go through the book chat, we had the hour-long after show for Name of the Wind. And in that, Patrick was talking about Slow Regard and said something came to his attention from a friend who had a perspective that he had not ever heard before, but it was like, whoa, this is really interesting to discuss. And so he asked me to sort of interview him about it. That was awesome. I liked that. What else we got here? Lisa says, Lisa 2.0. So there's 2 Lisas in here as well. Says, me too. I love book club, juggling 80 things tonight, but still listening as best I can. Oh, I appreciate you. Pailang says, speaking of mists, Mist of Avalon is a coolish book. King Arthur told from female perspectives. Congrats. But then Kate says, Mist of Avalon's author, hella problematic. Oh dear. I Googled it when I heard, thinking it would be because she said something shitty. Oh, but it was so much worse. Are you going to spill the tea on that, Kate? What is it? Oh, no. Okay. There it is. Got it. Cool. True Scorn says, hey, Maude, have you read The Lightning Tree by Pat? It's Bast's short story. I still haven't. I think I found it. It's like a 2-hour read on Audible, which means I'll finish it in 17 minutes. I've got to do that still. Oh, okay. Got it. No. And it's a female author. You know what? That is very disappointing. It's just like a reminder that people can be shit is always so hard to stomach. You know? Just don't be shit. You get a choice. It's always a choice. Your cards can be stacked against you, but it's still a choice if you want to be, you know, if it's been done to you and you want to do it as well. Mind you, healing is hard. And why it has to cost money to get professional help is beyond me. It's so silly. It adds to the chain of abuse. People in the reading section of the Discord are linking all of their favorite books. Darian says, I'll do Hail Mary. I loved The Martian and Artemis from Weir. So great. I kept confusing The Martian Chronicles with The Martian a lot, but then I remember that Matt Damon wasn't in The Martian Chronicles. Pailang says, everybody should get therapy. As someone whose mother is a psychologist, yeah. Yeah, I very much am an advocate for that. So wrapping things up, because I'm going to go a little bit earlier tonight, because I've got dinner happening. And this is a shorter book. I feel like I gotta get turned at the dinner. We get sparkling rosé every time. Oh, it's my drink. It's my drink of choice. Oh no, a dude on wheels. You just got here? I'll give you 5 more minutes, maybe. We'll see. Get your nom on. I know I'm starving. They have $5 grilled cheese. And it's like fat. It's like this big. And I'm like, no. Kate says, what? I thought that mango White Claw was your drink. It's my drink for at home where I'm like, you know, I'm not going to like pour myself a flute of the good stuff at home. So yeah, I still love mango White Claw for sure. I haven't had one in a while though. But when I go out, you best believe she's classy with her grilled cheese. True Scorn says, I thought you had an issue with red wine. Wasn't it trying to kill you? Yeah. Red wine gives me hangovers, but I think because it's a rosé, it's not as full on, and I can bounce back the next day a lot better. Salarak says, do you have a PO box for fan mail? I'd love to send you some books for your growing library. Won't say no to that, Salarak. We do. It's if you go onto the patreon.com/geekbomb, in the About section, there is a PO box address there. Gory can help you out with that as well if I believe you're in the Discord. So we can pop that again in the Discord too. Terry just noticed I'm wearing a Witcher shirt. That's my boy Garrett with his man bun. Well, it's more of a ponytail, but hello. Hold on. I was staying around so that I could answer a particular question because a dude on wheels just got here. A dude on wheels, I want to know from you and anyone else who hasn't answered the question, what is your favorite book of all time? If you had to choose one, some of us had to scratch our heads for 15 minutes before we finally got there. What's your favorite book of all time? Lisa says, I finally finished Witcher Season 1. Fuck. How did you enjoy it? I rewatched it. In fact, coming soon to Rotten Tomatoes YouTube channel, I did a binge battle with Trisha Hirschberger where we had to debate parts of The Witcher. And let's just say I think I'm able to handle rejection better.
Hello, everyone, and welcome.
That's all I'll say about that. Has it not come out yet? Videos. Have I just spoilt this? Tangled versus Frozen, Paranormal Activity versus The Conjuring. Rotten Tomatoes is wrong about The Sopranos. Yikes, I don't think it's come out yet. It'll be a binge battle between Trisha Hirschberger and I. Some of the topics included, you binged it in 2 days. Yeah, it's really easy. But then it jumps all over the place, so it's actually good to have a rewatch of that so that you can piece it sort of together. I chose as favorite character. I chose Yaskia. She chose Yennefer. Favorite monster. I chose a Doppler. She chose the dragon. Favorite episode. I chose the finale. She chose the one with the the Hedgehog Knight, where the law of surprise is enacted. It got really heated. I played the mum card on her and the feminist card. And she said, well, you play nasty. And I said, no, Trisha, I just enjoy winning. I bring knives to debate fights, I bring knives to word fights. They cut deep. Am I proud of it? No. Is anyone surprised by it? No. Cool. A Dude on Wheels. You're not a big horror fan, but you liked what? You liked which one? Witcher? Did everyone notice that Maude's energy gets higher when she mentions food? Says Gory Hills. Everyone will hate me, and I'm okay with it, but it's Twilight. I loved it. I fangirl. Still, yes, Team Alice all the way. Gory, that was brave. I was really brave of you to say that Twilight's your favorite book. I'm here for that. No shame at all. Every year and a half, I remember at the start of COVID, I was like, fuck it. I'm going to watch the movies again. They're so fun to watch. This latest go, because I forget what happens, and so I'll watch it again, I got angry. Because psychologically, they are damaging. And I am not Team Edward or Team Edward, who is Team Love Bomb, Team Control. He's so red flaggy. And then Team, what is Edward and Taylor Lautner. Edward and, what's the fucking wolf's name again? Jacob. He doesn't listen to boundaries. She sets a very clear boundary and she says no, and he interprets it as a not yet. That's rapey. Ugh. And then imprints on a daughter. So fucked up. Anyway. Terry says my fave changes from the Dresden Files. Second, Order of the Phoenix because of Umbridge. Best villain in a book series. Oh yeah, because she's lawful evil and that is the scariest villain that you can get. Piling says, sounds like you won. We'll see. Hello, Fat Black Patrick Swayze. How are ya? How can I pick a favorite book? It's like picking a favorite child. Yeah. Hello, Patrick says, just got here, but the book that stuck with me the most in my life is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. I think I butchered that name, but I gave it a go. Jason M. Ball, hello, says Glory Road by Robert Heinlein. Yay. Jimmy says, hey, dragons aren't monsters. That should have been my argument, and it wasn't. Oh, Kate's correcting me. It's by Stephen King, a horror book. Oh, got it. Thierry's saying The Witcher episode 4 of Banquets, Bastards, and Burials. That's exactly what it is. Do I have a food dance? Asked TJ. Yes, of Course I do. Course I do. Cinema Therapy did some great deep dive on the Twilight Saga. So fun, says Thierry. I want to watch that actually. And I was going to do my own TikTok series on it because I was so fired up. Chris says, I tried to read Twilight so that I could talk about it and not dismiss it out of hand. I failed. I did that with 50 Shades of Grey. I was like, man, everyone's reading it. I think I threw it in the bin after chapter 4. Pat says, I'm watching them for the first time. We somehow watched Eclipse second instead of third because we're fools, I guess. I had to Google it as well. It's not clear. And boy, it doesn't make any sense without that second movie. I think I made a confession in a Powered Down episode about Eclipse. So if you know, you know. Salarak says the Twilight movies are a guilty pleasure for romance, but as a blueprint for relationships, they are a headache. They are more than a headache. They are effed up. They are a what not to do checklist. Has anyone read Barnes & Noble's Book of the Year, Word of Wonders by Amy Nezkukumatathil? I need to get better with that. I was phonetically trying to read it out. Amy Nezkukumatathil. That's easier. Okay. I want to get it right. Anyway, that was your 5 more minutes. I got to skedaddle. Thanks everyone for an amazing book chat. Terry says, I'm scared for my 10-year-old niece who loves Twilight. You get dazzled in the moment, but then you can take a step back. Can't you, Gory? Can't you, Gory? You can take a step back and kind of see it for what it is. Is that true? Is it? Can you? Anyway. Finish the book. This is your homework. Let's finish this book. Next week, we are actually doing Wheel of Time with Nerdist. 5 till 6 o'clock. We will be streaming live on Nerdist's YouTube page, Geek and Sundry's Twitch page, Nerdist's Facebook page. Join Rachel Hine, Hector Navarro, and myself as we try to talk about this big fucking book in 60 minutes. You're right. Thanks, Corey. And then afterwards, we'll be jumping into the Discord chat where everyone's sitting right now with muted. But this is not broadcast. It is a secret little thing where anything said in this chat stays in this conversation. But it means that people can bring up their own thoughts or questions or discussion points. And as a group, we get to talk about it. A lot of the time it is, I know, Kate, seriously, so do I. So bad. I miss it. Hector's going to hate Wheel of Time. You bet your buddy is. You just know it. Hello, Xenotech. Yeah, it is like a secret podcast. If you're there, you're there. If you're not, you miss it. And we get very real because it is sort of like a secret society. It isn't going to be broadcast anywhere. So we turn the reel right up. Night Toaster Poster, thank you so much for that. As always, because we need to return the favor, since Michelle was so lovely rating in, let's pass on that love. Let's be amazing. Drop the bombs. Let's support another channel. What do we feel like? Dungeon Run has a D&D show on at the moment. We won't be able to, we have to respect the fact that they're in the middle of a show. Sonia, oh my god, it's Firefox. She's doing some Just Chatting. Kiahu Kiwani is doing Just Chatting as well. Brizzy Voices is playing Phasmophobia. What's Chia Jordan playing? She's got some, Animal Crossing New Horizons. What are we feeling? You shouldn't even number them. Just discuss and do more than one episode. Animal Crossing, Phasmophobia. All right, we've got a vote apiece. Animal Crossing it is. Everyone say hi to Jordan, who's doing some really, really chill content. Even if you only say for 3 minutes, drop some bombs, make her feel loved. She's an absolute sweetie pie. And she's got her goth on tonight by the looks of it. How exciting. See you over there. Bye.